This is the TI-83 plus, and we're going to use it to find the mean, standard deviation, and variance for a set of numbers. And you can actually use this on a lot of the other TI-83s, 84s. So first thing I need to do is turn my calculator on. And you don't need to worry so much about getting into statistics mode because that's going to happen as we go to do this. So what ends up happening is I want to store a set of data. So if I hit the Stat button, then I have these options. The first thing I need to do is edit a list of numbers, and so I'm going to be editing, and it's right where it needs to be. So I can just go ahead and hit Enter. And now I'm ready to enter. Ooh, but there's already numbers in list 1. I could arrow over to list 2, but I might want list 2 for something else. So I'm going to come back, and the way that I can clear this list is if I hit the up arrow so that the entire list is highlighted, and then I choose the clear button. Whoops, it's flashing at 1, but I need to finish it off by hitting Enter. Then the entire list is cleared out. And now I'm ready to enter my numbers. So let's go ahead and use 7 for the first number. And I just see it floating down here, but not up in my list, because I actually do need to hit the Enter to store that 7 in the list. And L1, list 1, is now waiting for a second number. So I would hit 10, hit the Enter button. I can see the 10th number stored. And I proceed with that method for the rest of my list. Let's do 15 and 18. Double check everybody's up there, 7, 10, 15, 18. It's waiting for a 5th number, but I don't have one, so my data is now stored. So now I'm ready to get the statistical information. I go back to my Stat button, and I'm ready to calculate that data. So I'm going to arrow once over to the right, and I'm only going to be using one variable, statistics, so I could go ahead and hit Enter. Now the problem is it wants to know which data to work off of. If you just hit Enter now, it defaults to list 1. But what if you did store your items in list 2? You'll notice down here above the numbers, there's list 1, 2, 3, etc. in yellow. So I could hit second for the yellow and hit 1 for L1 and hit Enter, and I get all of the data from list 1, but had I not chosen a list, it was going to give me list 1 anyways. So the first thing I see is X bar, which is the sample mean of those 4 numbers. Notice down here N is 4, I had 4 numbers. So my sample mean is 12.5, which is the same as the population mean. I'm not going to use sigma sub x, which was the sum of those numbers, but notice 50 divided by 4 is going to give you the 12.5. This was each number squared and then added up, but I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is S sub x. So S with a subscript of x means sample standard deviation. So in this case, 4.9328, etc. is the sample standard deviation. Or, had those 4 numbers been population data, then we would have wanted sigma sub x, the population standard deviation, which is 4.272, etc. Your population standard deviation will always be smaller than the sample standard deviation. And if I keep arrowing down, I get some other helpful information. The minimum number in my list was 7. Q1, the first quartile, 25% of the way through the list, was a value of 8.5. The median, which is Q2, which is 50% of the way through the list, is 12.5. Happens to be the same as the mean. It's not always the case. Q3, which is 75% of the way through the list, is the number 16.5. And the maximum, the biggest number in the list, was 18. And as I arrow down again, nothing happens. Now, what if you wanted the variance? I scrolled all the way through my list, and I was able to get some sample standard deviations and population standard deviations, but none of the variances were the choices. I could write these numbers down and square them, but you want to write down as many decimals as possible. So instead, a second option is to hit the vars button. And when you hit vars, whoops, I don't want vars. Because do you see, oh yeah, statistics, sorry, number 5, there it is. scroll down to number 5 and hit enter. Here are those numbers again. So now if I came to the sample standard deviation and hit enter, that is blinking at the bottom of the screen. I can now go ahead and hit x squared, and I'm about to square the sample standard deviation, enter to get that actual value, and that is the sample variance. Or had I wanted the population variance, I would go through the same process. I would have to hit vars, scroll down till I hit the number 5, hit enter to be in that mode, scroll down, or you could just type the number 4 and automatically that would pop up. Hit enter. Yep, that's the population standard deviation. That's the piece I want to square. Hit enter, and I get 18.25. So that is using the TI-83 Plus to find the mean, standard deviation, and variance for a set of data.